Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Karen Newman. This is the Saturday Human Colony Hucolo Webinar. It is Saturday, the 27th of February, 2021. We have with us a very special guest. We have Mads Lundager. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Is it? I did say it right?
Yes, it's Mads Lundager in Danish, but no one can pronounce Danish, so it's perfect
let's
with
say
Lundager. Lundager.
Lundager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Max Lundager.
Mads Lundager.
Okay, Mads Lundager. I think we should try. All
Exactly.
right, perfect. Yeah, and he's going to be channeling with us the 9D Arcturian Counsel and maybe some other beings, but primarily them. And he's now in Spain via Denmark, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we will come back to you for just a little for an interview in just a moment, and we'll just start with some announcements, and then we'll have some prayers. So go ahead, Angie.
Hi, good morning, and welcome everybody. Our announcement is the March 20th and 21st class with Will and Jim. It's Godly Creation, how to create and manifest quicker, and it is a 2-day class, and that one is March 20th and 21st, which is the spring equinox. Energies are going to be really great that day. It is a 2-day class from 1:30 to 4:30. The price is $150. I'm going to be posting that on the website as well as Facebook. I did get all the information this morning. I did talk with Jim, and we finalized everything. So if you are interested in any of those classes and you send me emails, I will get that information out to you today. The class is $150, March 20th and 21st, 1:30 to 4:30 each day. The second class that we have scheduled is Galactic Energy Healing. That's April 24th and 25th. That's the level 1 class. It's $150. Again, it's from 1:30 to 4:30. We bumped the time to 1:30 so it will not interfere with the webinars that Saturday. If you're interested, please contact classes at hucolo.org. I almost like, what is it? Classes at hucolo.org. I will get information out to you in regards to registering, questions, and setting a payment.
Perfect. Very perfect. Okay. Oh, so we'll start with a few prayers. First, we'll do Dawn and then Kathy, and just go from one to the other, please.
Thank you, Karen. That's it. No me Tala hishit they sit to dreametka. Yet a day to chumedid the kahisi. He's an adash outdoor, a shit date issue to Nasahata na. As it adiaka e otoi, ala sayata dia, tahasa. Namaste.
Namaste. Ashoro dogo asamalasho atoko toroshodosa, matavero adosho, matoko oja. Shatoro dosho fatimagi oda, lanare noko sharadio, matimari oro, pashoro doko manari oro, hashadio, iliario, panari doko oso, anarinos, esotoro oro ana, medo shero. Beloved ones, tune into the vibration of abundance, the vibration of joy and passion. For these vibrational frequencies are the key to your never-ending search for happiness. All you desire is there waiting for you to simply rise up and reach it. So rejoice in these high vibrational frequencies that we shower onto you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just ask everyone, well, what I'll do is I'll put them on spotlight. You can leave your cameras on if you want. One moment. Okay. As the people slowly like drop off the screen. Okay, let me see. Okay, so you go by Mads to everyone, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
So the best, I think the best thing to do is maybe just give your introduction as to who you are and, you know, your sort of journey into channeling, your background and your journey into channeling, and where you are now with that, and what's your primary message and how you're working. In the chat, we will have your bio and your contact information. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, I know you do sessions and everything, and you have all of your information there. So, but go ahead and give your introduction, and I'll come back with some questions. And if anyone in the room has any questions on what he talks about in his introduction, you're free to in the chat just say question, and we can take it from there. Okay.
Yes. Hi everyone, and thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to it. And my name is Mads. I'm a Danish student, and I've been I feel I've kind of been around in this lifetime. And well, my parents are ministers, and I've always had a relationship to religion in that respect, and also was always very drawn to esoteric stuff, but mainly my practice was through traditional spirituality and the studying of texts and stuff. I also used to be a high school teacher and taught Danish, and then at some point I got really into yoga in my late 20s, and I then wound up triggering a Kundalini awakening about 3.5 years ago, I think, and it's been exciting ever since. And even though I also had alien encounters earlier, and that began leading up to a lot of weird synchronistic stuff in my life, it was sort of with this incident that I really began to change from the here on out, and it was kind of a hard experience. But then 2 years ago, I just came into this weird bliss state that I was in for a couple of months, and after that I suddenly discovered trance channeling and the whole culture around trance channeling, and as you may recognize, I think the first things I discovered was Bashar, which I just thought was so exciting, you know, coming from a Lutheran Protestant background, like then hearing some guy to give like Jesus messages, but with a alien twist. I thought that was really funny. And so I was very drawn to it. And I had also developed a deep meditation practice at this moment. And then I just experienced that I began being contacted, and felt like this was something I should do and I should try to share. And I am kind of a multi-purpose channeler, so I connect with a lot of different entities. Though I have someone like the Arcturian Counsel who I really enjoy working with, and I mostly skew galactic and then somewhat angelic. So I don't channel other human consciousnesses, for instance. And so I've been sharing the channeling for 1.5 years now, I think, since late 2019. And you can follow me, my experiments on YouTube if you want to. And what I really perceive it as is somehow something positive, a vision of what we could be, and well, entities that resonate with our altering frequency, that somehow begin to connect to us and then pull us further in the direction that we're actually aiming to go at. And so it's this ascension into the 50 years, in a way. It's the changing of the entire time-space continuum into something more energetic. And I truly believe channeling is a part of that. And then it just does amazing things, both for me and others. I can't help but think it's a really fun and engaging practice. And I'm always amazed at what comes out of these types of sessions.
You're muted, Karen.
Sorry, I'm just talking way over here. I was going to say, for people who don't know what a Kundalini awakening is, can you describe it, what it is, what happens, what does it mean to have a Kundalini awakening, and how did you go, you know, you said it was through the practice of yoga, and was it through only asana? Were you doing also deep meditation, fire breath, and all of those things? What branch of yoga were you following? Maybe you can say a little bit about that.
Yes, some very good questions. At that point, I had gotten into a branch that you might call tantric hatha, and there's nothing. Tantra in the Indian sense means simply the techniques that aim to connect the physical with the spiritual, and realize the microcosm in the macrocosm. And I was following a teacher named Rod Stryker, who you can find on the internet, who practices this type of Himalayan technique, where it's very much controlled breathing combined with very controlled poses. So you really go deep into energy building. And what happens is Kundalini is, you could think of it as in the Christian tradition as the Holy Ghost or Chi, or it has many names, but this universal energy, which then, as the Kundalini is centered in your spine, and what happens in all religious awakenings across cultures and time, is that this energy somehow becomes active in people. And so you could, if you look at the Acts and the early Christians, that's also like the thing they're running is activating the Holy Ghost within people. And so what I experienced was sort of it came to me in a yoga practice, but it was a rainbow current that began running from the base of my spine and up and down my spine. And then I began to have like a lot of spontaneous mystical experiences. And I was working as a high school teacher at the time, so it was kind of overwhelming to, feel you were melding with becoming one with the all while you're trying to manage a class of 20 teenagers. So I kind of had to quit that and focus on myself. And then there was like a lot of introspection. So it usually takes the shape of then when this energy becomes awakened, it begins to push out all the things that resist it. And that can be sort of a painful process, but it of course leads up to these also very rewarding experiences of oneness. I hope that sheds some light on it.
It does. I totally understand. So when you were studying Tantra, was it in the Kashmiri Shaivism version of Tantra? Or
yes, it was the Kashmiri Shaivism.
Was it Sri Lakshman Jew, or through what lineage was that?
I think that that rings a bell, and it's been a while since I've been there, and I think you might know more about it than I do in that sense, because I've since switched to what's called Kundalini yoga, which is a Sikh tradition, and it's.
Did you wear white?
No, I'm not that much of a Kundalini yogi. I do if I have to fit in, but other than that, I do prefer some color in life.
In the Sikh tradition, they don't talk about gurus. They have the 10 teachers or the 11 teachers in Sikhism.
Yes, exactly. And I don't think it's a guy named Yogi Bhajan who founded Kundalini yoga. So he's kind of
teacher.
Exactly, and considered kind of an apostate between regular Sikhs. But one of these, I forget who he was, the guy who founded Hare Krishna, but one of these Indians in the 60s who came to America and began showing people stuff.
That's great. Kundalini yoga. I know a lot of Kundalini yoga people. I'll just say like that. Yeah. And I find it very interesting. My thing's a little bit more Vedanta.
Yes.
But yeah. So, okay, perfect. There's a question from Lilypad. She says, can you share a little bit of your experience more about alien contact, and what was that for you? Because, here in Hucolo, we're a little bit interested in aliens. So
yes.
if you maybe have some information about that.
And it's fascinating. I've always been drawn to Atlantis and UFOs and crop circles and such, but it's never been a central point in my life. But then I had an experience in late 2013 where I was on a field with a friend, and we saw some strange lights, some really strange lights. And after that, I had a sense that something was appearing in the night sky. And I saw these huge scorpionic entities, which I have also channeled once in a while, but they have kind of a rough energy. And then I experienced that I was being somehow contacted. And later that night, I went out into the bathroom, and I had this sensation of this, I could actually see it, like this white flowing orb then entered my forehead and seated itself in there. And those following months, I did a lot of spontaneous astral traveling. I was living in the country at the time, and I just felt like I would go out of body and then be seated at these alien councils or meeting these strange races, and they would be, oh, there you are, we've been expecting for you. And then a lot of other practical stuff happened in my life where I kind of forgot about it, and then it really turned up in the channeling. And there I have the feeling that I've been contacted, but it is like, for instance, my reptilian guide is someone who I feel like also has been an invisible friend in my childhood. So when I began to channel them, I also discovered that somehow there was actually this remembrance of these extra-dimensional beings in childhood that I sort of pushed away. And to my best of to my own best beliefs, I think that's probably the case for all of us, that we actually have these encounters in childhood, but it's kind of different where who we align with.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm muted again. Sorry, I pushed the button and it doesn't always take. I said, have you actually seen an alien, or was it just really the ships that you saw?
Oh, yeah, I think it was only the ships. The way I experienced them is, the way I describe it is almost energetics, visionary energetics. So I see their outline, and I can see it easier if I close my eyes. But I can also, if I call in the Arcturians, I would kind of make out their silhouette in a type of radiant purple light. And that's kind of how I experienced them. But I've never, shaken hands with an alien or experienced abductions as some people have.
Yeah, my guides have Arcturian-ish qualities, and when I see them, I always see them in outline as well. So that's interesting to hear that. There's a question from Joan, and do you want to ask Joan? You can ask yourself if you'd like. Yes, Don, go ahead, share the link in the YouTube feed. Okay, Joan says, can you see if a person's had a Kundalini awakening? Or maybe you could give some people who may or may not be sure that if they've had one, something to help them know. But it's one of those things, if you've had one, you will know.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
You're questioning it. You have not had one.
Exactly. That's a good point. If you've had that irreversible process, what Kundalini in a Kundalini awakening is, then you will definitely know that something is weird, and you will also begin to be drawn to a lot of stuff that will explain it to you. But often people have Kundalini symptoms or awakening energy, and well, I don't necessarily perceive that as clearly as but my guides perceive it very clearly. So when I'm in the state, it's quite easy to scan how awakened people's energy is. And the symptoms that you can look out for is actually tingling in your spine. And often it's in the perineum is where the energy lives. So if you begin to experience some tingling sensations in simply the bottom of your torso, that's a sign that something is becoming active, and it can be anywhere in the spine, but the neck is also very, very common, and that's usually also the two places that were blocked the most. And it's another thing that most people experience in childhood, but sort of forget about these energy symptoms in the spine.
So you're saying most people experience Kundalini awakenings in childhood?
Oh, I say that they have more open Kundalini lines in childhood.
Oh, okay.
So they will have some of these tingling sensations and stuff, but we forget about it, much like we forget about growing pains, for instance.
Right. Okay, perfect. Okay, so did anyone else have any questions for Mads or not? If you do, you could write them in. If not, I think we could maybe go to channeling.
I have a quick question. This is Stephanie. Hi.
Hi, Stephanie. Go ahead.
I have a quick question about the Kundalini. Is it possible that, in follow-up to your comment, if it's in the back or spine, that it can actually create some pain in that area for some period, however limited or extended it might be? Thanks.
Yes, that is very, very possible. My spine hurts all the time. And if you read, I forget about, there are several people who have described this, but if you read the literature, there's usually a lot of physical discomfort, and especially in the spine, localized to it. But you will also notice that sometimes it travels. So depending on where the work is being done and you're focusing, it might lodge itself different places. But yes, that is very, very possible.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was on mute. I said, very good. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. All right, so if we can, I think maybe it would be a good idea to, I have my own hair in my eyes, and I can't see. It would be good idea to go ahead and to channel.
Yes, let's bring in the music. Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Okay.
I'll see you on the other side.
And so, okay, just one moment. So
Yes.
what we'll do for the room is just, as per normal, put your question in the chat. I'll call on you. Dawn is monitoring the YouTube chat. He's also going to put a link in there if you want to come in the room. If you do come in the room, please have your mic muted and your camera off, and we'll take it from there. Okay, there we go.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Hello, dear friends. It is I, Umblam, of the Arcturian Council, coming to you straight from the 9th dimension, an unlocalized place in the upper dimensions where we perceive a lot of things that you humans are interested in. And I'm so happy to be here with you today. I sense that some of you already know me and many of you do not. And it is a pleasure for me to be able to enjoy the co-creative energies that all of you feed into this time space. It's so lovely to be here, human beings. You are beloved. It's becoming much, much easier for us to relate to you now as you are moving into your own 5th dimensional experience. And that is what I was talking to this dear one before I came through today. I was discussing the principles of the Akashic or the etheric moving into your experience. See, many of you are having this. Many of you are having the idea that where you before began to, or where you before approached the world in that framework you call logic, that specific type of sequential way of speaking about the world and putting it into words. Many of you are having experiences that you have a hard time structuring in these principles. Instead, you are feeling energy symptoms. Instead, you are feeling strange memories and the odd recollection that something more, something else, something in your experience that you have been, but that you are not now, you are becoming again. This idea of past lives you are exploring, this idea that there are Akashic to the forefront. And so notice that you had structure, you had thought, and you might have had imagination. Your memories themselves are beginning to serve you as something more than a personal type of recollection. They're beginning to serve you as a type of navigation you can bring to the great total beyond that lies in your character, but that is yet to be seen by you. That is how you enter into higher dimensional experience. It is by becoming aware of this meeting of disparate things as a unity for the part of your personality that's eternal, that lies beyond the grave, that lies beyond the shifts between characters and counterparts, incarnations and lives that you have. It is something, a great deep template, a great pattern, a matrix that brings everything forward into an ordered and ordained way of being that is the synchronistic ramping up, that is manifestation ramping up, that is your intention floating into reality. And notice how the compression has been necessary for you. There has been a type of restriction for you in the fourth dimensional experience, the experience of time, language, and mind have gone through. And now you're entering into the 5D, but it was necessary for you to restrict it. And so notice that this thing that has plagued you has the name of the crown, and the crown is, in a sense, that which you have let suppress your instincts in order to order you through the fourth dimensional experience. And now you're coming to the fifth dimensional experience, and where energies have been restricted, they will either implode or they will find new ways to flow. And both things are happening. Your previous structure of reality is, in a sense, imploding. It's collapsing onto itself. And there you are seeking for those new places within your personality that have been unseen and hid for you for now, or until now. And through them, these new energies are flowing, and they're finding places to direct themselves in order to fertilize future experience. That is some of the very positive things we see going on for you human beings. And it's a great enjoyment for us and the entire galactic family that you are a part of to witness this thing unfolding for you. And with that, I bless you, and I look forward to answering your questions this wonderful day. May the love within you awaken and remind yourself of its ever-present glow.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's very nice to meet you and to have this interaction with you today. We do have some questions starting. So if it's possible, can I open you up for questions?
Yes, that I would love, and our blessings to you, dear one.
Thank you. Someone called iPhone. I don't know who that is actually, but iPhone has a question. Go ahead, iPhone.
That's me, Luba. Hello.
Hello.
Greetings, and I'm very happy, I have to say it, to see Mads today, because it was on my mind for a while to see him or invited him here, and here he is. So he made me very happy. I have a few questions, and question number one, if you can give us briefly short report how our planet Earth recovering from all this poisoning of ours, how she's doing.
Yes, what a sweet question. And we're also extending the gratitude of the channel, and he just wants to let you know that the love is received and reflected. And that is a segue into how your planet is doing, because your Mother Earth is a very energetically sensitive being, and she is perceiving the love you're directing towards her, though she, of course, is not too happy with all the trash that has heaped itself upon itself. But do not worry so much about her. She will be fine without you, and you will move to the stars at some point. So that's not to say that you are free to destroy your environment, or that it's not necessary for you to begin to undertake other actions. But she has a lot of projects to unfold in her future timelines that also concern other species and other energies than you. And she has actually volunteered, or it was anticipated, that she would go through some of this, you could say, exploitation by one of her species in order to also make the consciousness of sustainability arise within you. And it is arising. And we were presently discussing, I was there with them, though not speaking, before this meeting, the shift into veganism, the shift into non-dairy, and how it had been actually necessary for your species to also engage with the consumption of flesh and to eat meat simply to be able to build and extrapolate yourselves into the physical environment. but now you are moving into a place where far more subtle energies are more conducive to your well-being. And so notice that in these coming years, and especially in these 4 years, you will begin to see a type of radical shift. And what has happened partially as a consequence of this repression or restriction energies that you have felt in the past year and a year concerned to that phenomenon call your pandemic, that is that a lot of people have been forced to actually feel how they feel, and that feeling is actually not that good. And so, of course, a precursor for doing something better is that you feel that the place you are is not the right place to be. So we know it looks messy, and we know right now she's struggling, but she's a very, very powerful entity, and she has achieved homeostasis after greater disturbances than the ones that you are causing right now. So you still have time to turn around, and you are turning around in your lives. And so bring your attention to that positive thing and know that that will sort itself out in ways that will surprise you positively.
Thank you very much. I have another question. Also, if you can tell us or help us or share with us how to protect ourselves against nanotechnology.
Yes, you see, we Arcturians are a very technological race. So the question is, why would you protect yourself from something so wonderful, which allows you to alter your genome? We are, of course, kidding you a little bit here, but we are playing with your perceptions of what reality is, because you are, we believe, aware of the thing also called permission slips. That is to say, you are actually, your true being is a point of infinite creation. It's a point of undying attention that focuses itself and then creates a physical reality. And so if you are experiencing a lifetime where you feel you are threatened by nanotechnology, then that is a symptom that you are creating a sort of dissonance or threat in the outside world that you then use to build a story where you feel that you are somehow, yes, threatened by a phenomenon and therefore need to defend yourself. And it's far better to realize that if you begin to alter your attitudes and your vibration, these things won't necessarily touch you. But the idea of nanotechnology is in many ways the idea of, well, you could say lo-fi technology that resembles more the processes of biology than the industrial processes that you have been using. And so if you want to improve your relationship to Mother Earth, then it's actually not a bad idea to begin to explore these technologies, because they're, of course, it's not as harmful to her to alter the genome of a growing mechanism than it is to, well, to drill deep holes and then suck out fossil fuels and then release them into the atmosphere, or create aluminum mines and so on and so forth. Those things are actually far more damaging to her. So the problem with nanotechnology is not the technology, it's the way that it's being utilized. And you alter the way it's being utilized by helping alter your attitude of what it is. And so the best way to protect yourself is actually, you could say, to inform yourself and discover the nuances in this, because the technology isn't necessarily bad itself, but it can have negative implications. And of course, when you discover new and powerful methods of distorting reality, then of course it befalls you to try and explore them in a positive way. Look at, for instance, how your interaction with nuclear energy has been. You have actually learned so far to mostly use this for positive gains, though of course there have been some very dark and detrimental experiences connected to it. It is something that has helped you, you could say, by providing energy and also making you aware of some other layers of reality that were important for you to discover. So what we want to say is you actually protect yourself by not being afraid, and you help yourself not to be afraid by remembering your own power and your own light and your own infinite nature. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the last and personal question.
Yes.
I noticed that I keep forgetting some names, usually names by famous people, about famous people, usually. Not very often, or if I go to the basement and I forget why I'm going to the basement. So I don't know, my brain is all over places, but I am wondering if this is caused by heavy metal. Do I need a heavy metal detox, or what's going on? Because I refuse it. I don't like it. So anyway, thank you very much.
Exactly. And notice it, what you would do best to do was to change the perspective and say it's all right, because going to the basement and forgetting what you wanted down there, we believe is called being distracted, and it is a part of the human experience, because you sort of live in so many different realms at one time, and you are actually multidimensional beings. So this is more of a side effect of you becoming akashic or etheric, that you having more access to these energetic realities. And notice that in those, names don't actually make that much sense. So for us, we give names and we apply identities to when we communicate with humans, because we understand that's what you do. And that's why I also represent myself as Umblam of the Arcturian Council. And I used to be a being, but it's a very long time ago. But actually, we perceive you as energies. And when you perceive things in energies, you always have a quite exact lock on a person. You don't actually need the name to refer to them, because you're telempathizing with their actual self, instead of, that is, you're actually feeling who this being is, instead of referring to them by the sort of lexical name you have given them and then put in your memory bank. And so there's no need to worry that you are poisoned by heavy metals. It would perhaps do you good, if you're distracted to this, to do some slow breathing. That is to sit down and then focus on elongating your exhales. That would be very helpful. But other than that, it's also quite a normal thing that you shouldn't beat yourself up about. And if it's only celebrity names that you're forgetting, then we would also add that perhaps it's not that important for you to remember. So as long as you can remember the names of your children and your parents, you and yourself, you will be all right, we promise.
Thank you so very much. Much love to you.
Much love and many blessings to you, dear one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, there is a question from Salesh. Go ahead, Salesh.
Yes, hello, greetings, Umblam.
Greetings, Salesh. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
And likewise, and to see you as well, Mads. Okay, it's just a quick question. Since we last met, you did a good, fantastic energetic scan on my body, especially regarding the blockages.
Yes.
Are you able to do another one to see how far I've progressed?
Yes. Oh, this is interesting. It's wonderful to interact with you again. Yes, we sense that the etheric energies are also, they're changing in you for the better, we certainly mean. But we sense that some of the blockage that you have mentioned, that was centered in your belly and your navel area, and in those things, are moving somewhat out to the minor joints. So the places that you might be experiencing blockages now is more related to the knees, the ankles, and to some degree the elbows, though not as much. And so it would be helpful for you to, yes, and we are not sure if we have given you this exact technique before, but if you could, lie down on your back. It's sometimes called the Swedish candle, or the shoulder stand, though you don't need to do it as stiffly, though simply lie down on your shoulder blades and support your lower back with your hands, and then kick your behind with your heels. And if you do that, you will sort of both bring the energy flowing up that way, but also help to release some of those blocks. And we do sense that your Kundalini levels they're around right now it's a little different in the body, but around 76 or 77%. It's a quite high number, but it's especially related to, there's a type of square here below your neck and around the back of your heart center, where there's a lot of energy flowing in. And a way you also can help do this is, and we believe another entity brought this forward, but we would like to bring it to this community. It's the funky chicken is actually quite helpful, which means that you sort of will block your armlets, and then you do this, and it's a wonderful heart opener. We know it's kind of silly, but that also helps with the process. Does that help you, sweet Salish?
Yes, it does. I thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking to you, and we'll meet again in the future.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Our love to you, our friend.
And to you, you are loved.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Jana has a question. Go ahead, Jana.
Hi, Umblom and the Council. Thank you for coming through. I was wondering whether you could tell us some more about the experience of having a life in the 9th dimension. What could we envision with that? Is that more of an angelic energy, or are you as a consciousness more merged with the star consciousness? Or
it's a very beautiful question, Jana. Thank you for being here with us and allowing us to shed light on this. Yes, if you would allow me, I would love to go a little into the dimensional lattice. Of course, you can build of the all that we all are, the infinite, all that is, the thing you call source or spirit or God or the unified field or whatever you prefer. It has all names and no names. Within that thing, there are 13 subdivisions that make sense. And the 13th is actually the sum of the others. So put that aside, that's the totality of all that is. And these dimensions are layered in a way so you could perceive them as spheres. And the first dimension is the one furthest from source. So that's the dimension that has the most outer dense bounds, and it's essentially a dimension that doesn't become, it's exactly simply the connection between 2 points. So the idea that you need to have something that somehow measures out in order to begin to have other things that intersect with it and create beings and meaning. And that's the second dimension. So now we are into height and length, these basic dimensions. And notice then that you move further in, so your own perception of depth is actually a type of distortion of the other 2 dimensions. You step further backwards from them, and there you can easier see then how they interact. In the 4th dimension, you become aware that these physical densities build up in the 2nd density, build up in the 3rd dimension. It then moves through time in a way where you're able to enter it by manipulating symbols, and symbols are in a sense connected to that more eternal reality of mind. Then in the 5th dimension, you become aware of their energetics. That is to say, you become aware of the eternal nature of these things. So you step behind time, and you're able to view time as a component of these dimensions that you walk in. And that's where you're moving into now. 6th dimension is instant manifestation. It's then beyond time and space into a place where you could think of it as pure soul energy. And these dimensions are all connected to the basic energies of your 7 chakras, because the 7th energy is, you could think of it as light being. That's a physical being that's completely illuminated by the light that created it. Then the 8th dimension, you move into that through the stargate that resides around you, your 8th chakra, and that is centered in sun. That is solar consciousness, a star consciousness. And this is where these collectives reside that sort of still have individual patterns and are connected to a star, but are more collective. And then we move to the 9th dimension. The 9th dimension is the collective consciousness of a specific species with all their experiences, all their energetic patterns, and all their trajectories being fed. And we are not connected locally, we are connected everywhere. And the way we are connected is that we in a sense feed off thought forms. That's a way of describing it, though we would like to use the thing that we cultivate positivity within other species, and then they interact with us, and we can sustain ourselves energetically as a type of homeostatic orb. You could think of the 9 dimensionals consciousnesses, and there's a human one too, and there's a Pleiadian one, which you know well, and there's a Syrian one. There are many, but you could think of them as different types of orbs of completed special experience collected into a collective whole that is then beaming light and experience into the other points of creation and lower dimensional lattices. So it's a very compassionate place to be. 10 is where the perfect images reside. So then it's again turned into the specific. So the ideal image of man sits in the 10th dimension. That's where it's created. That's where you're and return to. It's this pattern that keeps going back into time. The 11th dimension is where the universes are created. Think of it as soap bubbles that bubble up and then take shapes, and so it's universes on a string. And the 12th dimension is ever-present source, or where the angelic, or heaven you could also call it, or where the angelic lives, and where the Holy Spirit comes from. And it's present in everything from the greatest to the most minute.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for explaining that. There's a question rising up about that. I was in a session with you, actually. I was talking to Keturah, my Pleiadian oversoul family, and she was explaining about the matrices and the geometry that they are connected to. How can I get a grip on the dimensional density in connection to the grid systems that they are connected to, the geometries that carry that consciousness?
Yes, what a helpful question. It's yes, well, first of all, you trust your intuition because you already have that connection, and you wouldn't have manifested in the outside world if it wasn't already present. And so we believe we also discussed certain techniques, and now we're speaking from the element of the oversoul that comes through, that had interactions with you. But there was a discussion of certain crystalline techniques that could be used to hone that frequency. And then invocation is another powerful one. But notice that you will always hit the frequency that you need when you follow your intuition in this. So just imagine in the infinity of the all, how aligned you already actually have to be to establish that communication with Keturah, because if you weren't, then it would be completely, you wouldn't be able to experience it. And that is, so if you're aiming for a more direct technique other than us assuring that you are already connected and doing the work, we are happy to try to provide it. But is that necessary?
That's always helpful, because others than myself can learn from that, if you would like to describe that.
Yes, then it's good to do a type of invocation. And if you have the entity, you could of course speak the name and say, sweet Keturah, we beg you to come forward. Sweet Keturah, expand this contact. Sweet Keturah, come in and bless us with your energy. And then you do the tone that is intuitively coming forward to you. And the tone that she's transmitting to us now is, and then you, exactly. And then you can sort of bring it down from that point where you can touch your body, where you feel that this tone is centered. So, then bring it down into your heart. And there you cultivate it in your heart. And if you touch your heart, you can then reach out and touch the thing. If it's the Stargate, you want to align with that vibration. Then while touching your heart with one hand, then yes, then, and it doesn't matter which hand it's, because he's turned around this individual, but then you can touch it with your right hand and then reach out with the left, for instance, and there emit the noise while you're touching that thing, the Stargate. Ooh. And yes, and now we're unable to produce it in this physical being again, but you get the idea.
Okay, thank you so much, Umblom and the council, for explaining this. And I see there's not a lot of questions behind me, so we'll leave it at this, and we will speak in another time. Thank you so much. Much love to you. Much love.
Much love to you. Our love and blessings, Jana. Thank you for the work you are doing.
Thank you so much. Okay, Sean Anderson. Go ahead, Sean.
Hi.
Hello, friend.
So, greetings. So I had a question about the Akashic record. I was just wondering if you could elaborate more on that, and then ways to access it, and a good way to utilize it.
Yes. It's a good question. And so you could think of the Akashic record as the fifth dimension. And we mean this also quite literally in the sense of the fifth element. So usually different systems of cosmology or spirituality around the world has had that intuition that there is a higher dimension. In the West, you usually call it ether. And it is something that surrounds and constitutes all the other dimensions, so contains it within them. And that means it's present for you right now. So the totality of your Akashic experience is filtering into that moment that you are right now, and that extends into infinity. And so it is connected to everything. And how you will experience it, or how you will intuitively sense memories or information from it, is that you will have the idea that something is coming forward that seems foreign and yet is recognizable. And a very powerful way of accessing these memories is to, well, do spontaneous regression. Or you don't necessarily need to do spontaneous, you can do forced regression, but you simply begin to remember, where was I yesterday? Where was I before this action? And where was I before this action? So you take time, and this is a part of you having mastered four-dimensional consciousness. That is, you begin to take time and then turn it around in pace. So while you're experiencing it forward, you could just as easily experience it backward. So you go, and where did I do? And before that, okay, and then I got up in the morning, and before that I slept. And what did I do last night? And there, if you go back to these higher leaps in time, you will then become, what did I do last week? And a month before that, and perhaps a month before that, and 6 months before that, and a year before that. And if you keep regressing, you will actually go back to not only your childhood, but go back to the womb of your mother. And there you will sense that experience doesn't stop, memory doesn't stop. You actually have memories ingrained within you that are not localized. And therefore, memory is, in a sense, not local. Your brains are only receiving, since memory resides in the Akashic. And therefore, you can begin to access these experiences. And the experiences that are coming forward are always something that is trying to help you or resolve something where you are now. So it would be very helpful for you to write it down or share it with others, or in some way look at it and analyze it, because there you will begin to see that it has certain resonance patterns that are very meaningful to you. And that is a very helpful way of utilizing it. And that will also increase your sense of this Akashic recognition.
Sean, did that answer your question? Hello? Okay.
Oh,
I guess it answered his question. All right. David
no.
has a question.
I still had a question.
Oh, you have another question? Go ahead. All right, because you didn't say anything. So go ahead. No problem.
That was on mute, sorry. So the question was about ancestral trauma. Is that stored in the nervous system by chance? Like if memory were to be stored in the body? Because I've been having a lot of nervous system problems. and it's been like overwhelming almost.
Yes, it's a good question. Well, we are aware because we are coming through a human and communicating with humans. We are aware that there's a lot of meaning in this perspective that is stored in the nervous system. And so what you are describing could be thought of as what you know as PTSD, as CPTSD, which is traumatic experience stored in the physical, having stored in the physical body in a way that impedes the flow of energy. But from our perspective, we don't really perceive you as your nervous systems as something that you do that's born and then set in stone and is the basis from you, that so you're a type of animated body by a soul that walks around in a closed world. That's not how we experience you. We experience you as a point of infinite beauty and a totality of wonderful light that creates an experience that it needs to have in order to undergo certain things. And so from that perspective, this could be thought of as a type of dense blockage in the way that you are manifesting your experience. That is to say, you're actually feeling a lot of this energy of your true self or your higher cosmic self feeding into your experience, and that's pushing up against your nervous system. So that's, in a sense, that's pushing up against your sense of creation of who you are. And that sense of creation of who you are instead being impeded by pains. So it's not to say that you can use different techniques to cure this. And again, anything that helps calm your parasympathetic nervous system would be ways that are helpful to you. Drink lots of water, preferably do some exercise if you can, preferably focus on exhalations and elongating them. Those would be, go swimming if you can. Those would be very helpful techniques to align with this. But from our perspective, you could, in a sense, switch into this already. And the fact that you are experiencing this as painful is a sign that something else wants to come in and fix it and overcome this problem. And there you can also begin to examine the exact nature of this trauma by, for instance, writing it out and questioning, what is it? What is it? What are these experiences and where are they exactly lodged in my body? And by doing that, you will also help that energy to come in and begin to flow and restore it, because you are natural healers and you can recreate yourself. It's quite a talent the human being has to both experience very, very dark hardships and then be able to turn these around into something valuable.
Okay, thank you. Much love.
Thank you.
That's all I
Much
have.
love and our blessings to you, our friend.
Thank you. Okay, Lilypad has a question. Go ahead, Lilypad.
I think it was David before me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I meant to call on David, but I was thinking that he had just gone. No offense, David. Go ahead, David. Thanks to Lilypad.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Hello, greetings. Much love.
Much love to you, David. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So you're Arcturians, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. That's okay. I heard it right. So I'm interested in hearing about our connection. I feel that I've heard that we have a connection, and any kind of guidance that will help me to connect with you more or to interact that will be beneficial.
Yes. Thank you for asking that question, David, because we sense there is a member of our collective, or he is a past life of yours coming forward. He calls himself Mundaeon. So an M, a U, an L, an O, and an N. Of course, you have several Arcturian connections, but he's coming forward, and he's a type of ball player. It's interesting. Like he creates these things that you play around with, and then they create a specific visual pattern. It's quite different translating this from the environment that we work in into yours, but they create a specific visual pattern that you don't know how to, that you're not sure what is before you hold it, but when you hold it, it tells you something about your inner status. And the reason he's coming forward is because you are somehow working on in your life, also focusing this type of reflective energy, this energy where, well, if you grab onto it, you could say if someone grabs onto you, they will be able to get a read of their own energy. And that's something that's quite helpful. And you could connect to him. Well, we sense that his symbol, the symbol the contact symbol he's transmitting to us, are 3 arrows stacked on top of each other, and then a ring surrounding these arrows, so it moves through the exact center, and then there's an arrow on top of that is sort of only half shooting through the ring, so it's only half the length of the other arrows. And that would be a way of connecting. That would be a way of connecting to him, this counterpart. Does that help you, David?
That's amazing. Wonderful.
Yes.
Yes. So how do I have to draw this out, or how do I connect?
Yes, please draw this out, and then you can sit down and focus on the symbol, and you can recall it when you're out walking. And if you do, you can also try to connect to him with a type of vibration, and we will transmit the vibration, though it will be more unique to you, but it is centered right around the solar plexus, and we will try to make it here. And it may feel like a little silly, but you will sense that it's sort of heightening and bringing out some elevation in that, and that will be easier for him to then extend and reach out. And then you can do that thing where you close your eyes and invite him in, or invite your astral guides in for a message, and then just ask the question, clear your mind, and after you've cleared your mind, then ask the question, and then the thing that comes forward, trust your intuition on that, because that's the energy that he wants to transmit.
That's awesome. And and what about connecting with any of the Arcturians? Is there any, I just call out or use my thoughts?
Yes, we are very happy to interact with thoughts, and that's a very helpful thing. But there are certain ways you can do it. For instance, we know this may sound silly, but blue LED lights are quite similar to our high technological vibration. So if you are in a dark room with blue LED lights, you will sense that the lighting itself will begin to generate an energy that's more conducive for communication with us, and that's a way of reaching us. And then there are also these connection points, usually centered around the throat, but if you begin to touch, it's the area behind your jawbone, and then behind your ears, so there are several pressure points here, and if you lightly begin to stimulate them, and you can also bring in the vibration that you feel intuitively, but we will do it through this vessel and say, that will also be a way to establish connection with our communal energy.
That's great. So I had moved to a place that was a very powerful vortex, sacred Native American land. And the first day that I had moved there out in the country, I was told possibly that I had seen something that looked like a meteor. Somebody said that it was an Arcturian ship. It was like a big orange ball. Is that something that you can see, if that is true, that they were like greeting me or something, or saying something like a flyby?
Yes, we actually sensed that this would. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to give you a time frame if that was needed.
No, that would be helpful. Thank you.
It was probably 3 years ago, couple years ago.
Yes, because we sense that this was perhaps more related to our friends, you call the Pleiadians, and there are of course many different Pleiadian races, but those you often refer to as the Pleiadian Nordics, and this is a race that's very interested in humanoid development because they're so close to you in vibrational range and in physical progress, and still remain physical. So when we appear, we do it more as a lark, you could say, because we do have ships and we do have chambers that you can access, and we have actually provided some meditations through this vessel, for instance, for accessing those places, but they do exist in a slightly different frequency band. So it's actually, if you want to communicate with you mentally, that we face in, but the Pleiadians were kind of signaling to you that yes, it's because you're on the path, and they wanted you to show you this. And so it's that thing that's strange to humans, that alien physics, in a sense, also relate to the mental. So we can actually decide who we want to appear in front of and who we don't want to appear in front of. And they were sort of calling in, yes, that because we heard the light language coming out of you. And it's in many ways, we sense the dialect is also quite Pleiadian, which is a pleasure to hear, but it's because there's an established link there. And there we sense techniques that would help you to straighten your spine, would be something that would make you align way more with this light language that's actually inscribed all around your aura.
Oh yeah, there is a slight curve that I've been told about. Oh my God.
Yes.
And so I can connect with them. They can help me heal. I've been experiencing all sorts of weird sensations in the body and energy. Well, a lot of it I think is just energy, but then there's fluctuations in the rhythm of the heart and stuff like that. Sometimes it'll go fast, and just sometimes it's stressful, you know, when you don't know what's going on, but it goes away. And I can connect with them to help heal, use my healing gifts to help with these situations. What
you can, and you can actually, for instance, speak light language to those different organs that you want to calm down, or that you want to soothe in that sense. And that would be very helpful, because you already have this gift for a reason. So if you bring forward this intuitive gift, it will begin to also your healing. But many of you, and we know that you also spoke about Kundalini awakenings before, but many of you are experiencing energy symptoms that are not necessarily located in the spine, but are connected to these classic spiritual symptoms of awakening. And therefore, if you straight spine, it will also begin to take off some of that energy that's disturbing your heart. But a part of the arrhythmia is simply related to your heart space expanding. And therefore, a lot of you are having problems either with your lower backs or this place around your lower ribs, or the place around your C7 and your shoulders, which is bothering this individual as we speak. And it's simply because there's like this type of bursting open of a chest that has been closed down to keep the energy of the heart center protected for, well, a lot of your history.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Wow. Did you say how? I didn't understand if you said about the spine and the curve and that it would help. Did you say what I would do to assist with that? Is it just light language? I forget what you said.
Yes, we actually didn't. We said you could use light language for the different symptoms of your body, but to extend your spine.
One moment.
Want to save the fish for next Friday?
One moment. Somebody who's got their mic unmuted.
Want to do that?
I want some fish.
1 second. That's Alex. Or who is that? I don't know who that is.
That's Elaine's phone, it says.
Elaine. Okay. Let's mute her. Okay, she's muted now. All right. Sorry for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
David, we need to, if there's something he said, you need to go back and listen, and because we need to move on to some other people now.
Yes. So we will just
Okay,
say try
yeah, I
to
just
hang,
wanted to understand.
try to hang from a branch when you can. That would be helpful. Swing from the
Okay,
trees.
good.
That would be good.
I'll connect with you again for a private.
Yes.
Thank you. Much love.
Thank you. Much love.
Thank you. Okay. And everyone, we have a lot of people in the room, so let's limit our questions to 2 and not 4 and 5 questions if we can. Lilypad, you can go next. Thank you.
Oh, hello. I have a question about, I've been having pain. I'm trying to heal myself. Well, I don't know, just thinking of it. But it doesn't seem to work. So can you please scan my energy? If you will be able to tell me.
It would be much easier, dear one, if you would tell us where you are experiencing your pain more locally.
My shoulders, my hands, my arms, part of my back.
Yes.
Or hips. I don't know. I guess everything. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. And it's because we actually sense that in that sense there is, well, we don't mean to disturb you, but quite a lot of blockage in your energy field. And it's centralized here, and it is because the easiest way to access it would be to try to access it with your heart. And so if you do the crucified position, which is in a sense the symbolic idea of opening your heart, and then you do those rotations where you keep your feet, you keep your feet centered, and you then rotate your torso. That would actually help you quite a bit to move that energy in and out. We also sense to try to tie your hands on your back and make them meet there and keep them there sometimes, because then if you avoid activity in these areas, then you will also, as much as you can, and we know that's very difficult because people use their hands for everything, but then you will actually sense a source of recuperation, and that would be helpful to you. So it's also it's a sign to turn down your levels of your frequency levels, you could say. And then also we would give you the advice, and I'm sorry we're laughing, but drink more water. Also, always drink more water if you can, sweet human beings. It's very important that you drink water in these times, because that holds the vibration of your innermost beings. Your bodies are made up of this sacred liquid, and the more you can purify that, the more you will simply also give yourself the permission to rinse out these things. And it's a good idea to bless your water, for instance. So you could do it a benediction and then say, "Dear blessed water, may this drink that I will enjoy, may it also cure my hands and arms and shoulders. May it run down to my feet and toes and connect to the waters of the Great Mother." And that will help you heal.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And I is that you say you connect, people can connect with you with the LED light now, which is good. But also there is I heard that you can do for pain laser. Do you think that helped laser?
Well, we do sense that there is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, we do sense that this is a powerful permission slip, and that we are aware of certain technologies of laser that actually helps to, you could say, warm up your tissue and then allow for a greater flow to it. And that if it's something you resonate with, that is certainly also something that could be helpful to you. We do sense that would be a good idea.
Okay,
in your case, at least.
Yeah, okay, because I have a big question about the infrared light. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce well. That maybe that helped me somehow for my tissues to recuperate, to heal. So, and you guys technology, so like maybe you know more about that kind of technology for pain. Yeah. And,
yes, because
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we're sensing that the energy, what you are looking to, is actually that you feel, it's intuitively, you sense that there is some sort of of cramping, or your tissues itself are having a hard time releasing. And you could also go into things such as passive yoga practices, that thing that's known as yin yoga, which is simply just, passive stretching. But that would also be a helpful way of doing it. But you're actually looking to, you could say, heat your bones. And so infrareds or lasers or whatever you might be helpful would be good to you. But you could also go into saunas and other things. And it's simply, or take hot baths. It's simply this idea of the permission slip, where you allow yourself to release, and you are on that track, but it is the release that you're looking for. And so seek out heat, and that would be good for you.
Would you be able to help the Council of Arcturian Counsel? I don't know if they have if you will be able as well to help me in a blockage or healing this, what I'm having experiences. Can I ask for you guys for help?
Yes, you most certainly could. We would though recommend that, yes, we are very happy to help, and it would be very helpful if you resonate with us. But you could also connect to the Syrians, who are very, very good with these physical technologies. They are quite helpful at it. And so if you feel connected to the race that's often known as the Syrians, they could also come in and help you. But if you want to call us, then yes, then simply please say, "Dear Arcturians, apply your energy to us, and we will help heighten your frequency to a level where you will begin to become more conscious of what you need to do yourself."
Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you too. Our love and blessings to you, sweet one.
Hi, did I come online? There's a question from Suzanne. Go ahead, Suzanne. Is she still here?
Thank you.
Yes, greetings, Ublam. It's really, really a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Suzanne. Our love and our blessings to you.
I would like to become better at distance healing for others.
Yes.
Can I call?
May we ask what you...
Sorry.
Yes, you can call on us. You are more than welcome to call on us. But may we ask you what you feel is being this gift of distance healing that you already have?
Because I'm doing it sort of independently, I'm not sure what I'm doing all the time. There are some times when I have great connections with other beings, and they seem to really help me to transmit healing to others. It's shocking sometimes, the response from the other people as well afterward, in a good way. Just any advice on how to continue?
Yes, exactly. And that is why we ask you that question, because what we sense is that you already have the skill. And so it's actually easier for you to work on having the confidence around that skill instead of working on improving the skill. And what you can do to improve that confidence is that you could, for instance, take notes or write down what people say, and with their permission, when you get the response after having done the healings, you could also record that and then listen to it, because that would convince you that what is going on is not only your own experience, but it is something that you're being assisted to and guided in by. And you're very welcome to call us in as well. We are very happy to help in this progress. But you already have the gift and the ability to connect both to the non-physical and higher dimensions, and to release this healing energy into other people's lives, which is a very great blessing. And a thing you could do also, if you wanted to, besides writing it down and having these things where you remind yourself of the actual value, of the meaning of the experience, but that would also be to visit the Stargate. And we know that this channel traveled through the Stargate assisted by dear Yana, who is also on this call. And we know that there are individuals who are working with these sacred technologies. And if you connect to one of these stargates, and you can also do it yourself through the etheric, through your guides, but it would also be helpful for you to have help from another human. That would also help you in bringing and strengthening that link that would help remind you that you are already always connected, and you are helping people greatly by unfolding this skill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One other quick question about Kundalini.
Yes.
I'm able to, at will, feel, feel some energy running through my body, and it's so intense that I actually usually verbally make a sound. So in other words, it runs through me so quickly. It's very intense, and then I produce a sound. It's that strong. But it doesn't. Is that where? Any advice on where do I go next with this?
Well, yes, you could try to experiment with recording these sounds and then making these types of frequency healings. So not only doing distant healings, but also making these sound and frequency healings available to others. And you could think of this, for instance, we had the beautiful light language prayers in the beginning of this. And when you tune into that, you can sense that the vibrations themselves are healing to other people. And this is in a sense what you're doing. So the impulses that are running through you and the vibrations that they're not exiting from that sacred system of your vocal cords that produce meaning and sound, those are things that are focused on those areas and able to heal those areas in particular. And that is something, if you record it and make it available to others, that they will also then be able to use and access to activate those areas.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you very much.
We think so. Yes, thank you too. We find it quite interesting. We're very grateful for the work you are doing. So we hope that you also remind yourself of your own value and the value of your actions. Our love and blessings.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin, are you in the room? Is he in the room? If you want, you can ask yourself. That's the best way. Just unmute your microphone. If not, I'll ask his question for him, but. Okay, I'll ask his question. Kevin asks, could you read the energies underlying the injuries that he's experiencing in his left calf, left hip, and lower back? He understands these may be related to receiving and slowing down, but would like a different perspective as well.
Yes.
Should I read it again?
No, we do believe we sense it. It's centered around his left lower back and that area around it. And yes, you could think of it. It's in a sense also related somewhat to. And the good thing is to slow down. But you know that the left side is usually thought of as the feminine or the passive side, and that does not mean that it's not as powerful as the other, but it is this type of imbalance in your energy, you could say. So we sense a slight distortion, and this is very normal in human beings, in your skeletal alignment, and simply because you also use another side more. But so a way to get into some of these things that could help you would be to slow down to the point, but also to begin to experience languor is the word we're getting. So this sort of sense of sweet passivity, of receptivity, of lying down and doing nothing, of then unwinding and then releasing. And we would go into those recommendations of passive stretching that we also brought forward to another individual, because that would be helpful. And it is, in a sense, that thing you need to cultivate. It's the thing that, yes, that's victorious by yielding. And that is what you're looking for. So you could actually learn to apply far less pressure in all your actions and in all the things you carry out, also by your right side. And instead of And this is a type of energetic mastery that more and more humans are moving into. So instead of thinking about, yes, forcing things open or performing or being yourself and releasing as much energy as possible, think of only applying the necessary force to the necessary situation. And the lighter a tap you can give on the door to open it, well, the more energy you will have conserved for greater purposes. And that is the advice that we would give you. And we bless you on healing this injury.
Thank you so much. Okay, 1 second. I've sort of lost my place here, so let me get back to the top of the chat. Okay.
Yes.
A moment. Thank you. There's a question from Joan. Go ahead, Joan.
Thank you. Greetings, Oblong. Can you scan my Kundalini, or if my energy, if there's something wrong, or what's my progress on my Kundalini? How long? I mean, what's the percentage on my spirituality? Thank you.
Yes. Well, we sense that, and then because you heard us give a percentage to another individual before, and we would say you can easily be super spiritual without having a very active Kundalini. And so what the Kundalini in a way does is that it begins to sacralize your code, and that is, it begins to ingrain the physical with the non-physical, with the etheric or the auric body. And that's why you also experience your saints as this light that comes from within them and somehow surrounds them. And we sense that your Kundalini is right now residing at around 46.5%. So in that range, and that's quite healthy. That means that your vitality is actually doing all right, and that you are connected to things, and that's never a problem. So from our perspective, you are eternal beings having a experience in time, and it's all fun and games. But we do know that humans tend to attach a lot of value and expectations to results, and therefore we would say that no, it's not problematic. But if you wish to try to heighten this vibration and get into it, then we sense that different techniques of what you know as hyperventilation, you could look into techniques such as holotropic breath work and some of those rapid breathing techniques. You could also look into different types of breath retention techniques. And these would all be things that would help expand that influx of energy into your being.
See. Thank you. One more question. Do I have any Arcturian past life?
Yes, you have quite a few. We do sense you are connected to one. There's you're connected to many, but there's one coming forward now, and she calls herself. Is this a she? Yes, it is. It's because it's a quite high vibrational Arcturian that's coming forward. So it's more of a 7th dimensional light being, but you could approach it through the vibration of Uma. U, an M, and an A. And well, yes, what does she do? Well, she tends to, she's mission of individual rays to other stars. So you could think of her kind of as a switchboard operator of the star Arcturus in a very high dimensional function. And what she's guiding you to, so how to sort of come to
Okay, well, we'll just give him a moment. Mads, we lost you for a second.
Yes, sorry about that. I'll bring back Umla.
That's great, no problem.
Yes, we do believe we were bringing forward the remembrance of an Arcturian past life. Her name was Uma. She was a 7th dimensional Arcturian light being. You could think of her as the switchboard operator of the star Arcturus. So she sort of instrumental in transmitting what kind of, no, light is information, and what kind of light that we want to reach different places. And again, it's that idea of controlling what information that can actually be brought forward, because we know that only certain resonance patterns can perceive certain information. And so since all of you are perceiving this, it actually means that you all have some energy that's able to register our energy and perceive this translation. But she's coming in order to help you guide your specific energies into specific places. So you could do well in becoming attentive of, where does my feelings reside in my body? If I get upset, what part of my body is it that tightens, and what part of my body is it that's triggered? If I'm happy, where is it that I'm relaxing, and what are the places where energy is flowing? So these are ways that you could think of it, and that's why she's coming forward, and she's also looking to connect to you. So if, for instance, you find out where the star Arcturus is located in the night sky, you could sit down and stargaze for a little at night, and that would be helpful. Yes, I apologize for the unstable internet, guys. Let me.
I think it's an indication that maybe someone needs to do a session for more information. Yeah. But we think we got the most of that. So thank you so very much for your question. Joan, is that okay for you?
Thank
Okay.
you. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Susan has a question. Go ahead, Susan.
Hello. I have been dealing with a skin condition called topical steroid withdrawal now since October. And I know you had previously, I think, said in a previous session that I would have glowing skin by the spring. And I feel like it is gradually getting better, but is there anything else that I can do to help clear it up faster, or how long it will take to clear up in the coming months if I'm on the right track and I just need to be patient with it?
Yes, you do in some sense answer your own question. And it's always lovely that, from our perspective, the questions contain the answers. So yes, you could do things, but the best thing you could do was, and we know this is difficult, is to actually relax about it, because in a sense that definition of a problem makes it hang on to some extent. And you know this well when you're feeling a little bit under the weather in other conditions. It might be a sign that you're actually then becoming very attentive of something that's out of balance, and then sort of growing that reality into, yes, that perspective into reality. So that's a way you could do it. But we do sense that you will drink lots of water, friends, and then go swimming. If you could go swimming in a body of salt water, that would be very, very helpful to you. We also sense.
Yeah, I'm trying like a no moisture treatment, like no moisturization, and it's supposed to help heal it faster and limit like water contact. So I was wondering if that's the right track, or if I should be, like you said, soaking with salt water, or which I was doing before, Dead Sea salts. And
yes, but we do sense it's important that you stay on track with it. Again, it's if you feel you are experiencing progress, then it's healthy not to distort it by doing something different. But our recommendation was not necessarily to soak it in salt, but to actually for your whole body to be submerged into salt water and swim in it, because that's a different type of permission slip that allows for your body to recenter itself in something that's of a different density and gravity, and that would be helpful to also clear up the flux of energy in your skin, you could say. So that was the recommendation. But if you do feel you are on track and you do feel it's helpful to keep out moisture, then also know that you are in a sense creating the healing for yourself through this, and it's important to believe in it.
Okay, wonderful. And then for a second quick question, is there any I know I have two Arcturian hybrid children, and I've been told I have a 6-dimensional higher aspect, Arcturian higher aspect named Paul. But is there any information you give me as far as my connection with the Arcturians, or who I should be connecting with, I guess, at this time?
Yes, we sense that you mentioned the hybrid. We sense you mentioned the hybrid program, and we sense that the energy is known as the Yael, or that particular collective of consciousnesses are someone who would be very helpful to you. See, they are more connected to the hybrid program. We have simply lent some of our codes, just as we have lent some of our codes to you, but we don't really engage in it in a sense, and therefore we sense that since this is the thing you bring forward, that would also be helpful for you to explore more.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
You are very welcome and blessed, and may healing find you. We sense it will. Our love to you.
Yeah, much love to you as well.
Okay, thank you so much. YouTube has some questions. Dawn, do you want to go ahead and ask some of these questions?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you, Karen.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to get a couple. What can we do daily to ascend faster? This is from Anne Hosen.
Yes. drink more water. Sorry, dear ones, but it's many of these experiences, and we know ascending faster might sound helpful, especially when you're in these troubling times, but know that you are ascending. So actually start noticing your progress instead of thinking, how do I get there faster? Then think of how far you have already gone. Because if you begin to think back on how your life were perhaps a year ago, well, a lot has happened in that year, right? And then if you think about how your life was 5 years ago and 15 years ago, you will begin to notice these changes, and they are happening faster and faster automatically. So it's, in a sense, it's not that you need to ascend faster. It's almost, how can I soothe myself while this acceleration is constantly, well, speeding up? Because many of you, and you're also describing physical symptoms, but we had the comment of, for instance, the arrhythmia in the heart. Many of you are feeling like some days you might blow your top, or feeling very stressed out, because it's actually a very stressful process to have a lot of energy influxes go into your cells and change them and begin to release some of this trauma. So in that way, it's calming down is actually very helpful. And you can pick your favorite centering techniques, but meditation, reciting mantras, singing, and be aware of what you are singing. It can be helpful to sing happy pop songs, but maybe sometimes you want to go into something a little more soothing and calming, almost lullaby-like, in the way that you relate to it. Then there is also, of course, the benefits of exercise, but do this in a way where you feel you bring yourself along. So instead of keeping up to a special schedule, see if you can explore things that you feel are helpful for where you might be out of balance. And those are different things for different individuals, though of course there are certain things that are universally helpful.
Thank you. Okay, I have one other question I will share. This was from Laura Edens, and it had to do with the fact of symbols that she has. And I'm not going to go into the full duration of what she said, but she said that one guide or one spiritual teacher told her to remove the symbols from her. And another said, no, you should leave those symbols in place. Can you give us an explanation as to the importance of symbols and their meaning?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. And we also extend our blessings to, and our love to Laura, who we know intimately. And we would simply like to say that those symbols, there's no reason to be afraid of them. But the way that symbols and sigils work is seeing that you are a single point of creative attention. That is to say, something eternal that focuses reality into being. symbols are in a way the way you limit things and concentrate your intentions. And so very powerful symbols that you know, for instance, from your religions, and that could be the Buddhist wheel or the Christian cross or the or the sickle moon, or there are these different things that human beings have already connected a lot of intention to. And so they sort of focus as reality tunnels, reality portals that energy flows into, and then creates this idea of a shared experience that you are within. And so as long as you feel that it is your creation that flows into these symbols, then it is quite helpful. And we could apply this quite practically to that practice of tattooing, which we know has also become widespread amongst humans. That is to say, realize that when you tattoo yourself, you are in a sense applying a type of visual spell to your body. And it would be very helpful if this visual spell is both conscious and focused on your own intention and what you want to do with it, rather than something that's imposed upon you from the outside, like a sleek design that someone may have will have convinced you was a good idea a night on the town. And so this is simply not to say that you should be afraid of the tattoos you already have, but to know that symbols are actually very powerful. And the more positive meaning you yourself invest in them, the more they help change yourself into that positive meaning. And this is a classical way of doing magic also, where you create symbols, invest intention, and then see that intention come into reality.
Thank you. And I just have one additional quick question.
Yes.
I was wondering, does water in a colored glass bottle have any effect, or does it change the magic properties of the water?
Yes, in a sense it does. And it has, again, to do with the way you perceive the world, because color is such a basic dimension of it. And so if you were to drink water of, let's say, a very dissonant color, let's come up with something, yes, that was orangey brown that we know many don't resonate with necessarily, something that you would associate sickness with, that would automatically shift it into something negative. And of course, therefore, in the positive direction, then when you associate it with something quite positive, something like, yes, a blue magic light, and notice, for instance, that the Chen likes to wear this color blue when he communicates with the Arcturians, because it helps him focus our energy psychologically. And that is in a sense the same thing you do when you put it in that thing. And the more you then invest the energy of blue and the value you hold to that color, the more you will actually charge the water with that vibration, and then allow it to also, yes, take it in and color you, as we may put it.
Yes, because I was wondering this, because also somebody asked the question, as well as I have to wear a different colored shirt when channeling, rather than just basic black. Okay, thank you very much. Blessings.
Blessings and love. Much love to you, our dear friend.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just see here who has a question. Elga has a question. Go ahead, Elga.
Greetings. I'm not so good with names, but I give you my love. I have a question, actually two. It was short after the 21st of, I think it was December. I looked out the window and there was a huge, huge spaceship, but it seemed to be plasma. And as I looked at it, I was mesmerized, and I felt that it was organic and that it was sentient. And it was transparent in parts, and some places were milky, or it has a beautiful color also. It was beautiful. I loved the color. And I went into another room, and when I came back, it was still there. And it was positioned over the sun. And when I looked at the sun was, it was not our sun. It was, the aura was completely different. It was very golden with a lot of green, and also some crimson red, I would say, and also it was not even a corona that was round. It was more like an oval, almost like a tunnel where one could walk to. And I could see the particles actually form all the beams, and behind, it was almost solid, but was round. And behind, I could see, I could almost say a city, or maybe mountains, or a landscape. And it lasted for a long, long time. And no matter where I went, which room I went, it still stayed. Could you tell me what that was?
Yes, we could, and we bless you and thank you for putting this forward. But may we ask you why you inferred that it was a spacecraft that you saw?
Because it looked like it. At least it had the shape of it.
Yes, because what we sense is that this was more of a kind of vision of the kind that you know, for instance, from, well, your Old Testament prophets such as Ezekiel. So this was a type of vision of a humanoid future that appeared to you. What you experienced was a rift in time, and through this rift in time, there was an influx from a more positive timeline that was trying to attract you. And so what you saw was actually a type of externalization of your soul in a future unfolding of itself as an ever-present or collective energy. And therefore, the vessel that you saw was in a sense your Merkaba. It was your own spiritual vessel that you have built, that you experienced in the outside, and that you were then connected to. So it's a very beautiful and very positive vision, and it's inviting you to go there. But it is something that is, in a sense, also very much an indication that you are becoming multidimensional, that you are beginning to relate to other realities. And that's also why names don't make that much sense anymore, because it's actually the vibration of these things that you perceive more.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you. That takes a big burden from my shoulder.
Yes.
Yes, and that is true. Yes, it has been said to me that I can actually look into eternity.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what we perceive, that you have the prophetic gift, and we would sense it would be a help both to you and to others if you were to share or write this down and bring forward these images that you have, and that would also help then expand, because it was exactly an image of a future you, a future world, a future timeline in that sense. And we mean this very positively, an apocalyptic vision that came to you.
Yeah.
And notice it came to you exactly as the heavens were shifting to allow you to do that, because you were already in harmony with them.
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you. And I have another question.
Yes.
At times, I'm in a circle of healing, or rather intention. And at times when I do light language, what comes through all the tones, they are very long. And I feel that there are different layers of tones. I can actually hear that myself. And I also can see the colors, the different colors when those tones come out of me. And they're so powerful. I can see at times symbols that are on the earth, going onto the earth because it is directed to the earth. and bringing like healing or taking away stagnation and dark energy and transmuting them. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense to you also. So we would, and this is very much a type of technology which we also operated with. It's exactly the vibrational release, and by partially matching energies and partially heightening them, and then connecting them to those things that need healing, you are releasing them, and we thank you for that work. It makes a lot of sense to us.
I think I've had some lives with the Arcturians. I feel very drawn just by looking at the bodies, if you will, the form and the color and so forth.
Yes, that is certainly true. You have. And we sense in your case, since you have the gift of sight, it would be helpful for you to invite us in, because you would be surprised at who would be connecting to you.
Thank you. Yes,
It
I
will
will do
happen
so.
swiftly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Love and blessings.
Love and blessings to you.
Okay, we have time for one more question. J-Lo, go right ahead, please.
Thank you. Hello, Umlam. Greetings.
Hello. Greetings.
Umlam, to piggyback to what Elga was mentioning earlier, I have a curious question.
Yes.
I was visiting my partner's parents' house, and the night before we arrived, her mother told us that she looked up at the sky and saw an object that was very bright. Now, I'm not sure if you're able to pinpoint my location at the moment, and seeing how there's many craft visiting Earth and so forth. I don't know if you would be able to tell me if that was indeed a if there were occupants, if it was a craft and there were occupants inside of it, or if it was simply a star or even an airplane. And the only reason I ask is because I find it very fun, intriguing, fascinating when people who may not be that aware of, let's say, other forms of consciousness existing throughout the universe see something and are just puzzled by what they are observing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our love and blessings. What a beautiful question. Though may we ask the name and the location of your mother-in-law?
The city is called Madera, California.
Yes.
And I'm sending you an image of where we are, where I am right now at the moment.
Yes. What we sensed was that this was it's a beautiful apparition. What is this race that's coming through? You see, there are a lot of things. There's a lot of things active in the night sky, and we sense that this race, it describes itself somewhat as the Ilun is the name that we're getting, but they have a quite interesting quality, because they're again a little chicken-like, but it's only because they're sort of feathered, so it's almost an avian species. But the way they revealed themselves to your mother-in-law was again as this. You know, even people who aren't so directed towards the exploration of these themes, they still get these pokes, and they usually get these pokes at times where it's helpful for them to shake their belief structure loose a little bit and begin to wonder at what might be beyond the stars and what might be beyond the mystery of immediate existence. And that was, in a sense, what they were beaming into her in order to communicate. So that was the sighting as we are getting it.
Thank you so much. You know, I have spoken with her and her father as well, and I feel like they're not as open. So it was very interesting, and I found it very synchronous that the day prior to arriving, she had an experience like that, and I could tell from feeling her energy that she was very surprised and very puzzled and very intrigued. So I'm very grateful for you sharing this information with me. Just made my day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we might like to point out, as you will experience as you move into the fifth dimension, that synchronicities are actually a way you experience the deeper meaning in the way the universe is structured, because in a way it was your vibration that, and the anticipation of that moving in and matching her, that already triggered that experience. So you would be able to have that sense of opening, exploration. So it was helpful for her also that you were coming there, and so these things coincide in order for them to actually appear into your consciousness. And we bless you very much for also bringing her eyes to the stars.
Oh, thank you so much. Many blessings. Take care.
Thank you. We really do have just about 2 minutes left, so I just want to tell you so much. Thank you so very much, and it was a pleasure, and we'd love to have you back, Mads, and to you, Umla.
Yes.
Thank you for being.
Thank you so much. We would also love to join you again with the team, and if we may, we will leave you with a short prayer and blessing.
Perfect.
Just shortly. You have seen many wonders, humans, but you are yet to see the beginning of what you actually are. That is the end point of creation. You are something so spectacular, so wonderful, that you can only behold it in pieces that you put piece together to a whole. Our blessings to you from the entire Arcturian Council. Our love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. All right. Thank you, Mads. Welcome. It went fast. Went very
Yes,
fast.
it went fast. Thank you for all the beautiful questions. You know, it's I love channeling. It was a lot of fun. So
That's great. So everyone, I did put your contact information in the description of the YouTube, so you're available for sessions and one-on-ones, I'm sure.
yes.
Yes.
Exactly. It's 99 euros, but I have some discounts if you book longer sessions or more of them at a time.
All right.
And you're very welcome. And it's under Mundaeon is the name I work under.
Perfect. So we will see everyone next week. Do we have anyone? Angie, are you still here? Did you want to do a?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much. Let me take my video. Hi, everybody. So
One second, Angie. One second. Okay, let me just do the.
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, March 20th and 21st is the class with Will and Jim. It is godly creation, how to create and manifest quicker and more reliably. I posted on all the Facebook pages. I also am going to get the announcement on the website, and I also sent emails out to all our paid subscriber. If you're interested, classes at hucolo.org. It is March 20th and 21st, $150, 1:30 to 4:30. The information will be posted on the site hopefully within the next day or two, but it is on all the Facebook pages.
Thank you so much.
You are
All right,
welcome. Thank you.
Did you want to do a blessing?
Sure, of course I will.
Okay, we'll do a blessing with you, and then we'll do a blessing with Yana. And next week, Jim will be back. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see everyone next time. And thanks again, Mads, for your beautiful channeling.
Thank you, Mads, for coming through today. All right.
Yes, thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Ahutu kuria tata cheshia ya mohuka aya tuku iana haya tikia shana ia takapuku rati arasi anio noku shiataka apataku iana. Namaste.
Go ahead, Yana.
Erenika hanta taia keye iene a tatanato ye kete irtineuko a ua a tete iehe hanta taia katanateo artawa ne teteo ko atatanaye hai maka tataitu itu kuata tayane artuan taya ai eheo. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week. And we'll see you all next time. Much love to you. Thank you so much.
Thank